Hi, I'm Phil Berman from Balance Catamarans, and it's an exciting time for us. I'm here in St. Francis, South Africa, where it all began in 2013, and I'm standing on the first new Balance 580, which has just recently been launched, and we're just embarking on the sea trials on the boat. But since I'm here, I thought I would do a little walk through the boat, give people an idea of what's new about this boat, what's special. The first thing you'll notice when you look at the boat is the footprint of the 580 up top is considerably larger than our smaller 526. It's just really an open space. The windows now open all the way across. It's flush between the two spaces. And as you can see in the galley, it's oriented fore and aft with an island in it. It's just a big, really spacious, luxurious boat. The cockpit is larger. The interior salon is larger. So it's just all around a much, much bigger yacht. Many people have asked, sort of like, well, why did you do the 580? And it's interesting that we've had 3 owners of our 526s that have asked us that they want to go ahead and get a 580. Well, why is that? They kind of fall into 3 different camps. Some of them have decided that as they age, they would prefer to have a captain on their boat and a cabin. So they need a 4-cabin or a 5-cabin boat. Others are very experienced couples that know how to sail a boat, and they simply would like a larger, faster boat and can manage a boat like this and sail it. And then others are families that have a lot of kids and want to really go distance voyaging. They want the payload capacity, the storage space, the room, the cabins that you can get in a boat like this. In the 580, we offer the boat in a 3-cabin version, a 4-cabin owner version, which is what this boat is, and also in a 5-cabin version, which also allows for a crew. We're also doing one of the boats in a semi-custom fashion with a lot of bunk beds for a family that have a lot of kids. So this boat is sort of like the dream world performance voyager, for a couple or a family to sail around the world. So as we go inside the boat, I thought maybe the galley kind of speaks for itself. So now, of course, on boats of this size, you have a washer, a dishwasher. Here, this is a pop-up television set. So when you are sitting in the settee, you can look across and watch the television. You've got lots of storage, really big electric convection cooktop, oven here, wine cooler, and then 2 roll-out freezers, 2 roll-out refrigerators. And then, of course, a nav station. We don't have the nav station chair in on the boat yet, but it's got a really beautiful nav chair. And this particular boat was done in a really beautiful Alpi wood foam core, handmade by our carpenter here named Chippy, who really, really does a great job. So let's go down into the port. Yeah, so walking into the owner's suite on this boat, which is port aft on this particular version. You can see that you've got a true king size bed in this boat, which is down at sort of knee level. Reading lights, USB ports, storage underneath this big cavity, and also really nice big drawers, which come out. And another small locker here. But as you turn around, you look that when you're in the bedroom, this is all open all the way to here across this suite. So the feeling of openness when you're in here is incredible from the back of the bedroom. It's a true owner's suite. And here you've got a dresser, a vanity, makeup table. You've got 2 big hanging lockers here. And then forward, you've got a really, really nice shower, big walk-in shower enclosed with plexiglass. There's going to be a mirror here. We're waiting for the mirror to come in. It fits in with some light strips. And then the toilet is off to this side. So you've got just this really nice, open, spacious, non-claustrophobic owner's suite. The other thing that you'll notice on this boat is that we've raised the bulkhead height off the cabin soles so that very tall people can walk through the boat pretty easily. I'm 6'1", so You're talking about a head clearance here of probably about 6'5", I would guess, 6'5". So it's quite good. So I'm here at the nav station. So it's a kind of a cool nav station. These drawers are beautifully handmade at an angle. Chippy did a great job on these. The owner spent some time working with him to design these the way he liked. And it's set up in a really, really ergonomically proper way. He's got a nice chair here. He can sit up and look out, over the windows. Like all of our Balance Catamarans, it's really important to have these glass windows that come as far down to the wet deck as possible, so that when you're in the boat, you're looking out onto the sea. So if you look at me right now, I'm looking right out on these windows. And when I'm sitting here on the couch, if I'm hanging out, I'm looking out. I'm looking outside. So you can be in here reading. You can see on either side of the boat. You are completely connected to the world in this boat in a way that you seldom find on other catamarans. One unique feature of this boat is the owner wanted to have a really big lifting skylight that goes up to catch air. So we had this custom fabricated. It's not standard on the boats for him. So this lifts up and becomes kind of a big wind catchment system for the boat. That was a decision that he made, which I think was really kind of an interesting one, so that he doesn't feel the need to have windows inside his glass windows, opening ports, but rather can use this really big opening skylight to capture and flow air into the salon. Let's go to the port side. So as you come down on the port side, it's completely private stairway, and you enter into a large forward athwartship berth. So to this side, you've got big hanging lockers and mechanicals, big hanging lockers, dressers, drawers, hanging locker, more drawers here. And then once again, a true king size bed that spans this distance. You get really great natural ventilation in these berths. You can open this one up as well. And then forward, you have a really nice shower. And in this boat, carbon toilets. A special choice that the owner made. They look quite cool. Yeah, so it's a really nice guest suite on the boat, which is a unique thing about a 58 like this, is that you can have that big owner suite aft and still forward have another set of stairs and a private guest suite in front of that. So now I think we should just go up and go over to the starboard hull, and I'll take you through that. When you come down the stairs on the starboard side, you encounter a signature Balance feature, which is a huge pantry. We put the pantries on the inboard side of the daggerboard on our boats, and it's such a great use of this space when we have daggerboards like this. So it's great when you're coming down from the kitchen, you just got this big pantry. And there's a mirrored pantry on the opposite hull when you come down. So all of the condiments and stuff can be stored really nicely and organized. This is a mechanical space here. And then as you go forward, I'll go all the way back to what is also another king-size bed suite. But what's odd about this? It's also an office. So this is a table that folds up and down. There's a cushion that goes here. This piece here slides all the way out in the non-office mode. The cushions are split, and the cushions are designed to stack on top of each other when it's in the office mode. And in the non-office mode, you slide it and put the other cushion down and lift this up, and you've just got a really functional office. What's great about this space from an office perspective is tons of light, great airflow coming in. It just becomes a really nice, private, quiet place to work. And what we've seen with many of our customers is some of them are retired or semi-retired, but a lot of them are still kind of digital nomads, I guess is what they call them. People that are managing businesses and thought leaders in various industries who are able to live and work on their boat remotely anywhere in the world. So the way this boat's set up between its dual Starlink system and this office, the owner of the boat could be hanging out on an anchor in the Tuamotus Island and running a business off of this boat in ways that could never have happened even just 5 years ago, which is really neat. And so then along here, you've got more storage just all the way around. I keep, it's hard to stress with Balance how important quality cabinetry is to us and how important it is to be able to stow everything. This is a nice visual to actually look at as you get a chance to see. So here you can see the chain coming down from the wheel from the Versa helm. These are all the MPT controllers for the solar panels. Each has an individual regulator to make sure they work even when one is shaded. And then you see also this is some of the deck breakers and wiring. You really aren't going to find wiring much finer than on these catamarans. And then along the hull along the midship, you've just got storage here, shelving and storage, more shelving and storage, and here you've got your electrical panels and your inverter chargers, all nice and neat. Just fantastic setup here. So on this boat, if you come forward from the owner's or from the office suite, you have a door and you open it and you enter into a toilet. So here I am on the aft toilet. This door you see that's right here closes and then locks. And then if the person wants to shower in here, then they shut this door and shower and vice versa. So it's it's a functional use of that space. You have two private toilets and a shower that's shared in the middle with the door that can be closed off from either side. Because the problem with most charter boats when you see them is that the whole midsection of the boat is taken up with heads and toilets, which are used a very small amount of time during the day and yet remove all kinds of storage, all kinds of cabinetry, and make the boat a lot less livable. So this type of Jack and Jill head situation, works really well. So as you can see, this is a true 4-cabin boat, but we call it a 4-cabin owner's version with a convertible office. On the 580, we offer 6 different iterations of interiors on the boat. But essentially down in the halls, if we don't have to move the bulkheads, we can play around a little bit and having a Jack and Jill type situation or different types of heads. And as we go all the way up, we've got another king-size berth. Tons of headroom to sit up and read in at night. Beautiful steps to climb off of. And then, boom, look at this. Wow. Here you've got a really proper workshop, storage area, sail locker. It's really quite cool. Just above me, this is all a deck hatch called a Bombay hatch that opens up. And we'll show you that to you on deck. It really enables you to get big sails and bicycles and kite gear and any of the stuff that you want in and out because it captures all the space of the bows across. At the very front, there's a crash box for the bow that goes out with foam so that if you were to hit anything, the bow would shear away. But, and look at the craftsmanship on this boat. So all of this white material here, any other builder is just going to cover this with vinyl or wood or something, which of course will eventually rot, mildew, look crappy at a certain point in its history. What we do here is when this comes out with raw fiberglass, our teams fill it, sand it, fair it, fill it, sand it, fair it, until it becomes literally just a fine piece of fiberglass. And then this is all sprayed out. So this type of finish is what you see on racing boats, really, on a racing boat. The amount of fairing that is required here is really quite enormous. I mean, I would say that probably this cabin alone, there's probably 3 to 4 weeks of 3 or 4 people fairing this cabin before it's ready to be sprayed. But it leads to just a really clean boat that's easy to maintain and finish, and won't rot or mildew and look bad in some years. The vinyl stuff always eventually looks bad. It's just kind of the nature of what happens. So this is a pretty neat spot. And as you can see, also the water maker is here. So this is a big spectral water maker in this location. Obviously on a 58-foot boat, you know, your water maker needs become greater. You've got to push out more water. So there you go. Pretty cool. So I'm going to go back up, and I thought it might be cool to walk into the cockpit. You know, walking out into the cockpit, again, you can perceive the spaciousness of a design like this. It's just amazing. And then, you know, coming back, you've got this, you know, this big table. And on this boat, you have a sink and a fish cutting board. And then on the starboard side, you've got a big Kenyan electric grill. So of course, on this boat, like all of our boats now, they are all 100% electric boats. They're operating on 48-volt systems, either with the existing integral alternators that we put on both engines that charge the lithium house banks. And now also the e-drive is coming out, which we're testing on a 526 very shortly. And many customers will opt to put on the e-drive because it offers even faster charging than the integrals, but also enables the boat to be propelled under electric power for, you know, 2 to 3 hours at a time for docking and such and what have you. But the great thing about the e-drive is incredibly high speed charging on it. Yeah. And obviously, you know, lounge here, lounge there. This is my favorite spot on the boat. It's missing the cushion right now here because you can just hang out up here, read a book, or you'll be protected under shade. You might ask, well, what are these things here? So what we've learned is that people like to carry all kinds of stuff. And now you can put 1 or 2 paddle boards, 3 paddle boards. You can put surfboards, you can put windsurfers, you can put fishing gear. And by doing it this way, all you do is take Velcro and you can adjust the size of the equipment that you have to the Velcro. It becomes such a great place to stow these things because they're out of the way, and you can see there's plenty of headroom here to do that. So it's a really, really great place to have them rather than tied along the stanchions as you see in a lot of boats, because then they're really subject to getting banged around by waves, salt water damage, and also windage. So it's a great thing to have these here. Also, you see that folded up right now are full cockpit enclosure screens. So this cockpit enclosure allows the boat to have just sunshades, but also isinglass, so it can all be zipped up and kept really nice and warm if you're trying to sail in colder climates. So while the 580 is an all-new boat, we're keeping all of the great features that we know work fantastically on a Balance, and we won't change, such as the Versa helm. So the Versa helm on this boat, obviously the larger the boat, the more room you have up top. You can see this is like a 3-person seat up here on this boat. But basically we kept the same Versa helm functionality for up and down sailing. Here though, because we have a larger footprint to work with, we centered the chart plotter in between 4 winches with big line storage boxes to keep it all functional. And then you've got all these deck buttons for the winches. So this boat can be single-handed by a competent sailor, which was really a super important goal to us. What's the largest catamaran, performance catamaran we could build that would be simple to sail and operate by just, a competent, short-handed couple? So up here, you operate your two main sheets, you operate your Solent self-tending jib, your topping lift, and you can manage three reefs here for the mainsail. So there's no reason why an individual, one person can't operate the boat. What is different, of course, on the 58 is that she's a cutter rig. So this boat has will carry a reacher or spinnakers off of the bowsprit. It has a Genoa, which is forward of the longeron, as you'll see on this boat. And then behind that, you have a self-tending blade jib. So what's the advantage of that? By making them all electrically operated, an individual can power this boat up and down really, really quickly. You just press a button. If it starts getting stormy or windy and you're overpowered, you just press a button and pull in the sail. So in really light air, you can roll out a big screecher and maybe have the Solent inside, so carry a double headsail rig. As the winds pick up, you can just carry the Genoa when you're reaching. If the winds really pick up and you're reaching, you can just go down to the little Solent jib. So you've got the capacity on this boat to sail her into heavy seas and high winds with a Solent jib and a triple reef main, but you can just keep expanding the sail area on the boat and powering her up and powering her up. Because the goal always is to have a boat that's kind of a wind speed or better boat and 6 or 7 knots of wind when you start to get into boats of this size. Like on the sea trials on this boat, the first day they hit 20 knots on this boat and they were sailing to windward at 11.5 to 12 knots, which is really quite quick. But the advantage of a boat like this and a true performance cat is that you're sailing most of the time, because in really light air, you've got the power to keep pushing the boat. So this boat isn't going to be motoring very often, I don't think. I mean, you give it any kind of wind and she's going to be sailing faster than she's going to be motoring, which is kind of neat. But again, you can see how clean everything is. This is all based on, what are we, 12 years of experience doing the Versa helm and doing helm stations like this. And there's no reason to reinvent the wheel when you've got the wheel working properly. Yeah. So as we go forward, you come up on the trampoline. I was earlier talking about these Bombay hatches. So these are built into the bow of the boat, and you can see how large and open this is in terms of getting sails and equipment in and out of here. You can put bicycles in and store them, and sails, and yeah, it's really quite spacious. And then we have steps, obviously, on either side. Big, spacious space. There's one on both bows on this boat. One really unique thing about this boat and which is a feature that you'll find on our new models 464 and 502, is the longeron of the boat now comes over the top of the forebeam, which is lowered slightly, and the forestay now runs forward of the forebeam, which does what? Well, it increases the size of the jib considerably on the boat, and in particular on the new 464 and 502, to really power up the self-tending jib on those boats. On this particular boat, the beam, the longeron, and the forebeam, and this is composite rigging, are all carbon fiber. And these were custom built for us in Cape Town. We're really quite happy with the product. The mast on the boat, the standard masts on the boats are aluminum, but this customer ordered a beautiful carbon fiber mast from Hall Spars. A single spreader rig with uppers and lowers, just a really clean, powerful carbon rig. So this new system's very racy, and you see how I've got a trampoline that comes out over the top there's no longer a trampoline coming up to a forebeam. You literally have a trampoline all the way out to the end of the sprit, which is really nice when you're coming out to attach a headsail, a spinnaker, a furling, drum, what have you. Yeah. This look is, it's very similar to what you see now on some of the racing cats. It's, in our opinion, a real nice performance boost for the boat by getting this forestay forward another, on this boat, it's a considerable amount, but it also pushes the forestay forward on our newer 464 and 502 models that we're building in Cape Town. And then as you come back, you see you've got a self-tending jib on a furler that it runs on a track like on our other boats. These hatches still have the plastic covers over them because we're still commissioning the boat, so we haven't pulled them off. But on this particular boat, we went ahead and put in flush hatches for the owner. We can do that on boats for you know, the people want them. The problem with the flush hatches, unless they're really well designed and drained properly out onto the side deck, they create problems. Obviously, dual dagger boards, and this boat is carrying a lot of solar panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is, these panels are 400 watts each, so this is 2,400 watts of solar up top here. And as you know, glass panels with individual regulators, because we know they perform, and they carry 25-year warranties. And then over the davits, we have another 1,200 watts of solar. So there's enough solar on this boat basically to self-tend it all during the day in any kind of sunlight condition. And should you ever have an alternator failure, an engine failure where you can't charge your 48-volt bank from your engines or engine alternators, there's enough solar here for this boat to manage itself until it gets to a port where it can triage and understand what technical issue resulted in an engine and or alternator problem. Redundancy is just a huge part of a cat. When you think about it, the catamaran with the dual diesel engines, triple sails, solar panels, alternator charging, you know, you have a lot of power redundancy on a cat. It's really unlikely that you would end up in a situation where you're without power on a modern, properly equipped sailing catamaran. So there you have it. It's the new 580. We're really excited about the boat. The plan is to, all things go well, we'll be showing this boat in the Indianapolis Boat Show this coming October in the United States. But we'll be launching hull number 3 shortly in the next month and a half. We're building it for a lovely French gentleman, and that boat will be in the Mediterranean permanently. And the plan is to show that boat, all things go well, at the Cannes International Yachting Festival this September. So hull number 3 will probably be the first officially shown Balance 580 at a boat show. I think that when we show the 580 at a boat show in Europe, it's going to be a real wake-up call because these boats are absolutely beautiful and they achieve what we sought to do at Balance, which is to create boats that sail exceptionally fast, but are also super livable, super gracious, become great homes, are reliable and crafted to last. So we're really, really proud of the boat. It's been a project, it's been over 3.5 years in the making. We take our time at Balance. The engineering, design process, tooling process takes us longer than most, but the end result always ends up to be something kind of special. So the boat that I've been taking you through here has just been commissioned. We actually just kind of tidied it up a little bit so I could walk around and do some pictures. She doesn't have her throw pillows and cushions and tchotchkes, and she's not staged for photography, and the beds aren't made. Forgive us. It will be in Cape Town in another couple of weeks, at which time, and you check back in with us, we'll have professional photography of the boat inside and out. And we'll also do, Dean Parman himself will be doing a walkthrough of the boat when she's, what was the expression, dolled up for show. So we're excited about it. She'll be in Cape Town shortly and then working her way up to the Caribbean. And if you see her anywhere, she's called Wendigo, so wave at her owner. He's a lovely fellow. He owned a 526 and now wants to be sailing around the world with his family and friends and needed the extra space and the autonomy that comes with a boat of this size and payload capacity. So until we see you at a boat show, you know, stay in balance.